attacks, breaches, updates, regulations. Cybersecurity is a never ending story. But not to worry. Combating this day to day struggle has become a whole lot easier now. Welcome to one and all present here. It is heartwarming to see you all join us for the two-part webinar series on building a resilient cybersecurity strategy for 2019. I am Monisha Ravi and I will be your host for the first part of the webinar series. Today, we have two speakers, Mr. Giridhar, our cybersecurity analyst, and Ms. Shweta, our PIM Suite marketing analyst, joining us to give an insightful session on cybersecurity strategies that you can implement to stay ahead of potential attacks. Now, speaking of attacks, you must be quite aware of various security breaches that occurred in 2018. Let me quote some quick statistics. It is predicted by cybersecurity ventures that in 2019, businesses will experience a breach every 14 seconds. And not just that, it takes around 6 months to detect that it has been a breach, which is too late for a realization. Moreover, one of the surveys that deals with understanding the minds of some businessmen projected that while taking up a project, one in every six businessmen take cybersecurity just as an option to avoid the business risks associated with it. Hence, we are here to reverse this mindset, give you an overview of the cybersecurity trends and the steps to prepare to tackle the disruptive cyber incidents. You should also keep a lookout for some cybersecurity trends that will help you improve your organization's cybersecurity posture. For instance, building a good security strategy that would provide staffing and develop security teams to take care of it, or to be compliant with regulations to protect data privacy, while yet another would be to adopt gateway security measures and multi factor authentication to safeguard your organization from malware, phishing, credential theft, supply chain threats, etc. By the end of the webinar, these topics would have been dealt with in great depth by our speakers who will be taking over the sessions in a few minutes. I would also like to bring to your notice that we have additional resource materials on cybersecurity for your reference, which you can download from the link provided in the chat box. We would also like to get your valuable feedback once the session is done. We'll have a quick question and answer session at the end of the webinar where you can ask all your doubts to the speakers. In case your doubts are not answered due to lack of time, you can always write your queries to us by mail, to which we'll gladly reply. Now, Mr. Giridhar will help us understand the overall picture of cybersecurity trends, best practices, compliance mandates, along with specific examples. Welcome, Mr. Giridhar.
Thank you, Monisha. Hello, everyone. So that was a very brief introduction on cybersecurity. So without further delay, I will hop on into the UEM perspective to enhance your cybersecurity of your business. So this is the agenda for today. Initially, we'll be looking at cyber attacks that happened on 2018 and what can happen in 2019. Slowly, we'll be moving forward to understand the challenges in cybersecurity and how an UEM solution can help you rectify that. And finally, I'll be suggesting few best practices for 2019. Then we'll have the second part of the session, which will be targeting insider attacks, a few findings and predictions for 2019. Also, you'll be looking at the privileged access management part for proactive cybersecurity. Initially, the cyber threats 2018. So there are vast number of cyber attacks that's happening in the industry, but this one here, the malware, is very common and it's happening everywhere. The malware includes ransomware, banking trojans, web trojans, worms, Android malware, and viruses. So there are few top malware that happened in 2017 and 18, which includes WannaCry, Cerber, Emotet, Covacher, and so on. So this is very common type of cyber attack that we are experiencing in the industry. Here is some numbers for you. So if you can see in 2009, it was 29.48 million malwares existing in the market, and slowly in 2014 it was 326.04 million, and now it's 838.14 million total number of malwares being discovered in the industry. So the number is going high. Now we will look into the second threat, which is ransomware. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar about the name here because of the WannaCry impact that happened in 2017 May. So this ransomware was very popular because of the WannaCry, and it impacted around 150 countries across, causing damage to around 300,000 computers. Followed by WannaCry, we had Petya, and the disaster continued. So since we have discussed a lot about ransomware already, I'll be jumping into the next threat, which is zero-day exploit. So vulnerabilities are going to exist in your network because of the different type of applications and operating systems existing in your network. So zero-day exploits are the one for which the vendor hasn't deployed or released any patches. So these zero-day exploits are going to be the primary target for hackers to hop on into your network and look into your data. So here is some numbers on zero-day exploits. So if you can see in 1999, there were only 894 zero-day exploits happening in the industry. But currently, there are around 14K zero-day exploits that has been identified. Around 54% of companies experience one or more successful cyber attacks targeting the IT infrastructure. Out of those 54, 77% of those attacks utilized exploits, the zero-day exploits. The next threat in our list is man-in-the-middle attacks. So this is very uncommon because these attacks are very highly unlikely to be identified. So man-in-the-middle attacks is nothing but an interception that happens when you share some data over internet. This could be on email communication or through a social app and somehow. So these attacks, man-in-the-middle attacks, fetch your data, and these hackers can use this data, business data, for their own advantages. So next on the list is DDoS attacks, a distributed denial of service attacks. I'm sure you guys are familiar about this name. I'll just give a brief definition on this. So the DDoS attacks is nothing but the hacker will flood your service or server with a lot of traffic, internet flooding traffic, so that your primary objective of the server or service will be denied. So these attacks are quite common, and US is the primary target, with 44.7% botnets being created in US, followed by South Korea and Italy. So this is the overview of cyber attacks that happened in 2018. Now let's look into the cyber attacks that will happen in 2019. AI-powered attacks. We all know how good the AI is developing in the market and how fast it is evolving. AI learns from the past scenarios to update itself, which can be advantageous to the security professional, but can go against them if the hackers are going to use it for their own advantages. So according to a report from Webroot, 87% of US use AI, and 91% of security pros in US are concerned that AI can be used by hackers to launch more sophisticated attacks in 2019. So let's say AI is not going to be only advantageous, it's going to be a double-edged knife causing chaos to business. AI will also help hackers launch more sophisticated brute force attacks, letting them crack down passwords with better probability using geographical, demographical factors. The next on list is Sandbox evading malware. Sandbox is the technology which prevents your corporate data separate from the personal data. So this comes under containerization as well. So in 2019, we'll be seeing more malwares which will be able to get along or penetrate this container of corporate data and fetch the information inside the corporate container. So these malwares will be increasing in 2019, followed by compromising IoT devices. We all know how well we are using the Amazon Echo, the Google Mini, and Apple iWatch wearables and so on. So we are moving towards a smart city, a smartphone, a smart home, and these IoT devices can become victim or target to a DDoS attacks, letting the hackers bring in more bandwidth and cause more chaos to businesses if these IoT devices aren't secured properly. So now that we saw the attacks that happened in 2018 and what will happen in 2019, now let's understand the challenges the market is facing for a long time, the basic cybersecurity challenges. First things first, the IT security pro or your chief information officer do have to take care of complex devices that is existing in the network. It could be a server, a virtual machine, a virtual server, desktop, laptops, a simple smartphone, or a tablet or a kiosk devices. So all these devices has to be managed by your IT pro from one point, from one single touch point, which will be overwhelming for him. So he needs to switch between different solutions to take care of these complex devices. So this is the first challenge we are discussing here, the complex devices. The second challenge is complex applications. So your network will be having different type of machines, Windows, Mac, Linux, and even Android and iOS devices. So these devices comes with their own set of applications which the IT pro has to take care of, IT security pro should take care of. So taking care of all these applications from one desk will be a complex process and will be more tiring. So the IT pro needs one solution which will take care of all these complex applications from one single console. So the third challenge here is different type of users. Any business will have different type of employees being working with them. It could be a static user who is going to sit in your enterprise for the whole day, or a dynamic user who is going to travel for business meetings, meeting with clients, or a contact-based users who is going to exist in your network only for a day or a month or a year. And there could be guest users who is coming in and out of your enterprise. So IT Security Pro has to take care of all these complex users that's existing in your business, which is going to be again a tiring task. Followed by the fourth challenge here is cloud computing. We all know that the IT security era is moving towards cloud computing because most businesses prefer cloud-based software as the vendors take care of the data management here. So let's assume your business is using a cloud-based software and you're uploading information of your business into this cloud-based software. So you're relying totally on the vendors to take care of your data, your business data. So here, your corporate data and the personal data when the employees are using your cloud softwares could go into the hands of hackers if there isn't any proper security for your browsers. For a single touch point here for the cloud softwares is browsers. So you need right security measures, a data leakage policy, securing your information, your business information in the browsers. So this is the fourth challenge that the industry will be facing in 2019. Now let's see how UEM can help you enhance your cybersecurity and resolve these challenges we just discussed. So we discussed about the complex devices. With unified device management, unified endpoint management, you will be, or your security IT pro will be able to manage all these complex devices from single console. You can take care of a mobile device, a smartphone, a tablet, a virtual server, all from one single console, which is our UEM solution. Our UEM solution can also handle complex applications. It can take care of your Windows applications, your Linux applications, your Mac applications, and Android and iOS as well. It can take care of the vulnerabilities, scan for the patches, test the patches, and deploy these patches to the targeted machines or the vulnerable machines in time automatically. So your second challenge here can get resolved easily with UEM solution. The third challenge is different type of users. With UEM, you'll be able to monitor your users' login and logout time. You can also deploy privileges to restrict their access to certain business documents, bringing in more data security and user management to your desk. The fourth challenge here is securing your browsers. We discussed about the cloud computing and the necessity to have better security controls to your browsers. which can be deployed or achieved using securing browsers. So you will be having Chrome, Firefox, a Microsoft Edge, a Safari to access your softwares, your cloud softwares. So with proper security controls, securing your data and the user's access towards browsers can bring in better security towards your business and secure your cloud softwares and the data associated with it. Now that we've seen the challenges and the solution that UEM can offer, so what does our UEM solution do? It can bring in extra level of data security and user privacy to your business. Securing data at rest, on move, and in use. So any data that's existing in your business can be of these three different types. It can be at rest, cannot be used for a long while. It can be on move, or it can be in use or in a process. So securing data on mobile devices should be your first concern because most of the enterprise are going mobile these days. Also, the communications that's happening through emails has to be secure because most of the employees are going to use their smartphones to access the emails rather than switching on their desktops. So you need to make sure the email communications are secure. This can be achieved using conditional exchange access, which is another feature from EMM part of our solution. You should also be able to identify the compromised devices so that you'll know which are the devices that are jailbroken, so you'll be able to remove them from the management or secure them accordingly. So the last point here is containerization. With containerization, you'll be able to secure your business apps and personal apps of your employees so that you'll be able to securely manage your corporate data and no malware or sandbox evading malwares could exploit this corporate data for its own purpose. Next thing is user privacy. With proper privileged access to technicians, you'll be able to restrict these technicians from accessing all the information in your network. Also, you can deploy this privileged access configurations to your employees and they may be also restricted from accessing different business documents. Thus, you can bring in more user privacy both at client's place as well as for your employees. So initially we discussed about the cyber threats that happened in 2018. Then we saw what can happen in 2019. Then we discussed about the challenges, then the solution that UEM can offer to you. Now let's look into the scenarios and examples in real time. Scenario 1. A new cyber attack is spreading across countries. For example, let's take WannaCry. Will our IT administrators be able to fix this using an automated patch deployment procedure? Yes, you can actually escape WannaCry or Petya using an automated patch deployment procedure if you're using our UEM solution because we don't just support automated patch deployment, we'll be actually offering a better control here using our configurations so that a different scenario, for example, in case of WannaCry, you must block the ports which are vulnerable. The eternal blue vulnerability exploits few ports and you need to block these ports before deploying these patches. And we are able to block these ports using our configurations. Scenario 2. Employees can plug in USB drives to steal business sensitive documents from your computers. How to prevent these insider threats? With our UEM solution, you'll be able to configure your USB drives using a USB security management configuration, which will allow you to restrict certain USB drives and allow only few amount of devices or drives in your enterprise. Probably you can map your employees' USB drives so that only those drives can be accessed inside your corporate network. Scenario 3. A data breach into any personal app can leave your sensitive information in business apps wide open. So how to prevent these unforeseen man-in-the-disk and mobile malware attacks? So this is where the containerization and mobile application management will come into role. You will be able to secure your corporate data that's stored in corporate apps using the Sandbox technology, which is being used by the Android devices. So yes, we can actually prevent man-in-the-disk and other Android malware attacks. Scenario 4. Employees can lose their smartphones at times. Along with the lost devices goes business sensitive data. How to recover these data and their devices? Yes, our solution will support identifying these lost devices using the GPS tracking option, which will allow you to track the device, and also you can also go and search for the device using the location history. Apart from this, you can also remotely wipe the data that is being stored in those devices, but only the corporate data. So over all these two features, you can also go geofence these devices from leaving your particular geographical location. Scenario 5. In case of processor bugs, meltdown and spectra, the threat was at hardware level. The patching procedure was also quite complex as it required AV compatibility check as well. Can a UEM solution mitigate these sort of complex situations? I'm not sure about other solutions, but our UEM solution was able to mitigate meltdown and spectra because we offered automatic patching here along with AV compatibility. We had this registry configuration settings which would check for the compatibility of AV in devices, and only after the successful approval we will be deploying the patches that Microsoft released for patching meltdown and spectra bugs. So yes, we'll be able to mitigate this using our UEM solution. Scenario 6. When two employees communicate over a mail, they can share business sensitive document as an attachment. How to make sure this communication and the information shared among them stays secure. So this is where the conditional exchange access server comes into play. If you have defined proper policies, you'll be able to secure the communication. But how to secure the attachment? You can secure the attachment using mobile content management, which will allow the employees to view the documents only through a MEMDM, which is MDM is a mobile device manager application, which will allow you to manage these apps, manage the documents only through these managed apps. So that's all with the scenarios and examples. Now that I will introduce you guys to the UEM suite. We have three different UEM products here, which is Desktop Central, which targets and gives full UEM capabilities. So you can see the features below: the patch management, software management, OS imaging and deployment, IT asset management, where you will take care of your hardware and software. You can also blacklist applications, the remote control, and MDM. When I say MDM, the mobile application management, remote troubleshooting of your mobile devices, mobile content management, containerization, email security management, everything comes into play. And also we offer different type of configurations for different purpose. For example, we offer user and group management, firewall management, and browser management. So followed by that, we have our EMM product, Mobile Device Manager Plus, which will help you with only the EMM side of it. So you can see the features below. So the remote troubleshooting is supported only for Sony and Samsung devices as of now, but we will be extending it to the other devices as well. Followed by that, we have the new guy in the house, which is Browser Security Plus. So this is where you're going to secure your cloud softwares. Browser Security Plus comes with data leakage policies, threat detection policies, complete add-on and extension management, and it's also going to bring in the Sandbox technology here and prevent your corporate information separately from the personal information, which is where the browser isolation option comes in. And the browser lockdown will blacklist malware sites and other unwanted sites that your organization feel doesn't necessary to your business and actual routines. So I'm sure there are a few Australians here, so I'll be sharing some information targeting Australia. According to Australian Cybersecurity's recent strategy formulation, they have defined 8 strategies to mitigate cybersecurity incidents. Out of these 8 strategies, our UEM solution, which is Desktop Central, can help you with 6 strategies, and another solution from our ManageEngine, which is Recovery Manager Plus, can help you with the 7th option here. So I will give you a short brief about this blog so you'll know how we are satisfying or getting along with the Australian Cybersecurity Centre. So this is the blog. the Australian way of mitigating cybersecurity incidents. Probably you can have a read at it later. So the 8 strategies include patching applications, whitelist applications, hardening user applications, restricting administrative privileges, enabling multi-factor authentication, patching operating systems, blocking macros in Microsoft Office, followed by backups and disaster recovery options. So out of these 8, Desktop Central or UM solution can satisfy 6 strategies, and the last one here is backup, which is satisfied by Recovery Manager Plus. So getting back to the presentation, so to the rest of the audience, I like to say that Center for Internet Security, an organization which has defined 20 critical security controls for establishing an effective cybersecurity strategy. And our UM solution can actually help with 50% of it. 10 out of 20 security controls can be easily managed using one solution here. So you can also have a look at this using our infographic, 10 security controls for effective cybersecurity. So you'll be able to manage your softwares, your hardware, and you'll be also securing few configurations, deploying few configurations, targeting this hardware and software. You'll also be able to monitor and manage vulnerabilities, your privileged access, protecting browsers and ports, as well as data. So probably you can take a look at this infographic later to have an idea how we are satisfying this 10 critical security controls defined by Center for Internet Security. So now let me give you best practices for 2019. First things first, you should have your automated patch management in your organization, because this is the primary target for hackers. If you do not have proper patching procedures, your applications are vulnerable, so does your business data. Followed by that, you need proper hardware and software management process being established in your business. Then you need user and group privilege management, because in 2018 it was device-centric approach, but 2019 and 20 will be moving towards user-centric management. Followed by that, you need proper firewall management and browser configurations to be deployed to avoid man-in-the-middle or man-in-the-browser attacks. Followed by that, you need BYOD management, because the employee is going to bring in their own devices that can access your corporate network, through which there can be some loopholes in the devices which the cyber criminals could exploit. You need proper mobile application management to bring in better control to your business documents or your corporate data. Finally, you need proper data management lifecycle, because we know in 2018, May 25, we had this GDPR coming into force, and you need proper data management lifecycle to secure your data. You should know where your data exists, how it exists, and what is the stale data, how it enters your organization, and how it is being stored, and how can it leave or being deleted from your organization. This will bring in better control towards your data. So all these 7 best EM practices are being defined from ManageEngine for you towards 2019. Hope you have a better cybersecurity procedures in your organization being established for 2019. So now let me give you a small introduction to our product, UEM solution, Desktop Central. Please bear with me until it loads. So this is the basic UI of our Desktop Central product, which is an UEM solution. So this is the overall dashboard of the home page. Now you can see on the top, we have different tabs available here. So Desktop Central is a server and client-based model. It's an on-prem solution. So we have patch management, software deployment, inventory management, the software and hardware part. You can also go ahead and do OS imaging and deployment, and all the MDM capabilities are available in this tab, followed by the remote tools and reporting options. So we support all the different patching environment here, Windows, Mac, Linux, including third-party applications, and we are also supporting the market leader, the SSEM, with our third-party procedures, automating third-party procedures using Patch Connect Plus, which is another solution from ManageEngine. So getting back to the presentation, so we discussed about Desktop Central. The mobile device manager part is also being shared with you. The last one here is the Browser Security Plus, which is the new guy in the house, as I discussed. This Browser Security Plus will bring you better control towards even the phishing, the common platform through which cyber attacks sneak into network. So this phishing can also be prevented using Browser Security Plus. So if you are interested in getting to know more about this product, probably you can leave a message during our survey that you need a demo for this Browser Security Plus. We can give you a demo, set up a demo for you, because we support Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, Safari, and Firefox. So all multi-browser management under single console. So this is an on-prem solution for you. So let us know if you need any demo for any of these products, so we can go ahead and share the same with you. The next session here will be taken over by Shweta, our product expert from Privileged Access Management domain. She'll be sharing some proactive measures and approach towards combating insider threats in 2019. Thank you.
Thank you, Giridhar. Hello everyone, and thanks for taking the time to join today's webinar again. I'm Shweta, and I'm from the product marketing team of ManageEngine's Privileged Identity Management Suite. So in the previous session, we saw about cyber attacks in general, their patterns, predictions for 2019, and how a unified endpoint management solution proves effective in combating them. In this session, we'll narrow down and focus more on addressing one important and growing cause of cyber attacks, the insider threats, and the strategies that you can proactively adopt to mitigate them in 2019. So let's get started. Insider threats were and continue to be one of the most predominant vectors of cyber attacks all the time. Especially today, with more users getting access to a lot of resources in the network, and with more and more third-party vendors being associated with your organization, we can comfortably say that cybersecurity is at stake more than ever before. And ISF report Threat Horizon 2019 has listed insider attacks as one among the 9 major cyber threats to look out for 2019. Hence, it's important for organizations to particularly lay focus on this area and look out for solutions to mitigate this problem. Okay, so before we get to the solution part, we'll quickly reacquaint ourselves with the scope of insider threats, how they progress within an organization's network. We'll also quickly run through some costly insider attacks of the past, how they were caused, what scenarios are organizations facing today, and then finally discuss what kind of solutions organizations have to incorporate to solve this problem. So this is a typical insider threat cyber kill chain. It is an adaptation of Lockheed Martin's cyber kill chain devised by ZoneFox. So an insider threat typically has 4 stages. The first stage is the recruitment or tipping point, which represents the point of entry of malicious users into your organization, or the point where your existing employees decide to act against the organization to steal personal information. The second stage is the search or recon, where the malicious insider scans your network and identifies potential vulnerable targets. The third stage is the data acquisition, where the malicious insider gets access to various critical resources in your network by exploiting these vulnerabilities and acquires data from these resources. The final stage is the exfiltration of data, which represents the sending out of data. The malicious insider leaks the data to the external world and deletes it from various locations in your network. Okay. The insider threats can be broadly categorized into 2 parts. One is the accidental exposure, and the next one is the malicious attack. Accidental exposure is mainly caused due to negligence or ignorance of employees. Many of the times, employees are tricked by phishing emails. They click on them and often end up sharing company sensitive information with the spoofed website. The second type of insider threat is the malicious attack. which is an intentional attack. Disgruntled employees actually turn against the organization and gain access to some of the privileged resources in your network by exploiting various vulnerabilities in your network, exfiltrate data, and leak them out. So here are some of the security issues that are caused due to insider attacks. The first is the credential theft. Privileged credentials remain one of the most important attack surfaces as well as threat vectors in any insider attack. Access control issues. Authorized admins are blocked access to various privileged resources in your network, and unauthorized employees gain access to such resources. The third one is poor data hygiene. Then fourth one is the possibilities of data spill, which is nothing but the data exfiltration. And then there is the surreptitious fourth-party infiltration. Sometimes when third-party vendors are associated in your network, they intentionally or accidentally bring in a surreptitious fourth party into your network, and they happen to gain access to critical assets in your network. They exfiltrate data, establish permanent foothold and backdoors in your network, which is very dangerous. Now that we've seen how insider threats stem in your network, how they progress in your network, we'll quickly take some examples of some of the costly insider attacks of the past. The Target data breach, which occurred in November to December 2013, is one of the biggest insider data breaches that ever happened. Target is one of the largest retailer chains of the US. It was found that attackers were able to infect 40,000 to 60,000 point of sales terminals with malware and expose credit and debit details of 40 million user accounts. Considering this massive infestation of POS terminals with malware, some of the Gartner security analysts were able to conclude that some form of privileged abuse has happened within the organization which caused the attack. It was later found that hackers were able to access some of Target's privileged resources through some of the vendors' credentials in the network. They were able to exfiltrate data and expose such huge amount of personal data to the external world. Here is another big example of an insider attack, the Nuance Communications breach. Nuance is a US-based speech recognition firm, and it fell victim to insider attack pretty recently in November to December 2017. The cause for this attack was found to be third-party unauthorized access. It was found that a former employee of Nuance was able to gain access to the firm's critical assets, and he was able to expose patient records of 45,000 patients. Now that we've discussed about insider attacks of the past, we'll quickly run through the present scenario today. What is the stance of insider threats in the cyberspace, and what kind of strategies that organizations have to adapt to combat this problem, or what kind of capabilities that you guys have to find in a proper privileged access management solution in your network. Okay, this is something related to Australia. The CERT Australia, a wing of the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, has declared that insider threats are going to be one of the hardest to mitigate, detect, and prosecute in 2019. It also strongly recommends organizations to implement the Essential 8, a rulebook containing 8 important clauses that organizations have to adapt to protect their cyberspace. And one among the 8 clauses is restricting administrative privileges, which can be achieved by organizations if they deploy a perfect PAM solution in their network. Let us also analyze the cybersecurity threat landscape for the APAC region in 2019. The Frost and Sullivan research firm conducted a study about cybersecurity threat landscape in the APAC region. According to the study, it was found that the cost of a cyber attack can be divided into 2 categories, the direct cost and indirect cost. The direct cost of a cyber attack is nothing but the economic losses that organizations have to face because of a cyber attack, and it was found that the potential economic loss in APAC due to cybersecurity breaches accounts to almost $1.745 trillion USD, which is more than 7% of the region's total GDP. And it was also found that large-sized organizations incur an average loss of $13 million US, and medium-sized organizations incur a loss of $96,000 US because of cyber attacks. One of the indirect costs of cyber attacks is the loss of jobs faced in many organizations. It was found that almost 67%, that is 7 in 10 organizations, faced loss of jobs because of cyber incidents. The study also recommends organizations to invest in a proper solution and strengthen their fundamentals to thwart any cyber attacks for 2019. And again, here are some key findings about insider threats and predictions for 2019 based on the 2018 Insider Threat Report published by the CA Technologies. It was found that 90% of cybersecurity professionals feel that their organization is vulnerable to insider threats even today. And this one is based on the 2018 Verizon report. It was found that 58% of data breaches in the healthcare industry involved insider activity. And one of the main enabler of insider threats is too many users with excessive access privileges. It accounts to almost 37% of the cyber attacks happening in your organization. When it comes to implementing a privileged access solution in your network, always remember that minimal privilege is the key. We'll see that later. And privileged credentials, as we discussed, remain to be one of the most predominant attack surfaces of an insider threat. It accounts to almost 52%. And one of the biggest vulnerabilities of insider threats are weak passwords and bad password sharing practices, accounting to 56% and 44% respectively. Okay, now coming to the solution part, we'll discuss what are the steps organizations have to follow to implement a perfect privileged account management strategy in their network, or what are the capabilities that an ideal PIM solution has to provide you so that you will be safe from insider threats in 2019. Here are some of the steps you have to look out for. The first step is to discover and consolidate. The first step in securing privileged access is to discover and consolidate all the privileged identities in your network into a secure single repository. The second step is regulating access. Once you've discovered and consolidated all your privileged identities, you should be able to get a clear picture of who can access what resources in your network and enforce fine-grained access restrictions depending on user roles. Also, you need to implement a centralized password access control workflow, which requires users, depending on their roles, to obtain approval from authorized admins before they can connect to the privileged assets. Then the third step is centralized control on access pathways. You have to make sure that you establish a central gateway only through which all the requests to remote assets have to be routed, and you have to shut off remote access requests from all the unapproved solutions in your network. And you have to remember that when enabling remote access to users on a temporary basis, make it a point to never ever share passwords in plain text. Finally, audit all user activities. You have to make sure that the solution that you deploy in your network is able to audit all the user activities around privileged accounts, and it should be able to store it in a tamper-proof location that can be retrieved by administrators as and when required. Also, enable real-time notifications for critical operations such as privileged account creation, deletion, remote access, etc., so that if something goes wrong, the notification immediately pops up and helps your IT admins to rectify it immediately. So here is an easy takeaway of what we've discussed before, the steps you have to remember to incorporate a perfect privileged access management strategy in your network. So get them all under one roof, get all your privileged credentials under a single secure repository, start caring about sharing, enforce fine-grained restriction on privileged credentials, and establish a centralized request approve mechanism. Finally, check and double-check everything. Make sure all the operations around privileged accounts are audited. So at ManageEngine, we rolled out our privileged identity management suite, the BIM suite, last year. You can check out, which is a unified platform for managing all your privileged identities. Here is a brief setup of the suite. This is the BIM suite. The BIM suite is basically built on ManageEngine's top two security solutions, Password Manager Pro and Key Manager Plus. Password Manager Pro, which serves as an enterprise privileged password vault, centralizes and delegates remote access requests to critical resources, and provides out-of-the-box session shadowing capabilities and enables IT security admins maintain an upper hand on all the remote sessions in the network. While Key Manager Plus focuses on the lifecycle management of equally important but often ignored privileged identities, the SSH keys and the SSL cert. These two solutions are tightly integrated to form a unified privileged identity management platform that serves as the one-stop solution for securing and managing your privileged access. So with this, the webinar comes to a wrap, and if you have any questions regarding any of the points discussed above, you can always drop them in the QA box in your GoToWebinar console. With this, I hand over the session to Monisha Ravi, the coordinator for this webinar.
Thank you, Shweta and Giridhar, for an insightful webinar session on proactive spectrum of the cybersecurity strategy. We will be covering the reactive measures in the next and the final part of our webinar series on the 15th of November. We have received some questions and our speakers will address them right now. The first question says, will ManageEngine's UEM solution help us monitor software usage metrics?
Thank you, Monisha. Yes, that is an interesting question because I didn't speak about that. You'll be able to actually measure your software usage that's happening inside your business network using the software management capabilities in our UEM solution, Desktop Central. You'll be able to identify how your commercial softwares are performing so that you'll be able to renew the license based upon the usage. So yes, you'll be able to manage this usage metrics of softwares.
We have one question on PIM suite. How to handle privileged access requests needed only on a temporary basis?
So the answer for this question is that you should be able to deploy a solution that incorporates a request approve workflow mechanism so that all the temporary access requests can be approved by authorized admins. The solution should also be capable of delegating access on a time frame basis so that once the user performs the necessary operations on the resources, he should be blocked access to that resource.
I think the next question will be answered by Giridhar. Can you please explain in brief the patching capabilities and scope of Desktop Central?
Yes, actually, Desktop Central do support all different platforms with regards to patching. So it does support Windows, Mac, Linux, and all the third-party applications that's in the market. So you'll be able to patch all the different operating systems and the applications that existing in those operating systems. So this is the one challenge which I discussed earlier during my session in UEM. So probably I'll get back to you with better patching capabilities next time so that we can understand how critical patching is and how you can enhance your patching capabilities in your network.
Shweta, I think you'll have to answer this. In large enterprises, where privileged credentials have already been circulated among thousands of users, how can one reinforce security on privileged access?
This is an interesting question. The best practice to address this problem will be to discover and consolidate all your privileged credentials in a centralized PIM solution. So then the solution should be able to reset all the obtained credentials, such as the credentials could be password or SSH keys or certificates, whatever, so that the old credentials held by the users before will become obsolete and invalid, and they'll be forced to access the critical system only through the centralized gateway, which will be your PIM solution.
So we have another interesting question from Mr. Daniel Louis. He asks that regarding auto patch management, do we need to test the patch before deploying to production servers? If testing is needed, then how to perform auto patch? So Daniel, thanks for asking. Our UEM solution, Desktop Central, do support auto patching, which includes testing of these patches to the production servers. So you can test the patches to a particular group of machines before you deploy it to a major group of computers or servers. So you do not need to worry about this testing process because we have automated this as well. Thank you for the interesting question here. So here is another question from Gary Bradley, who is interested about the 8 Australian cybersecurity strategies that I discussed. So he is asking that you mentioned that Desktop Central can help with 6 out of 8 strategies. What enemy products cover the remaining 2? So I give a clarity here. The Desktop Central can satisfy 6 out of the 8 strategies, and the remaining 2, which is the macros and the backup recovery part. The backup and recovery comes as a single strategy under Australian cybersecurity. So as long as we take backup and recovery into account, our recovery manager plus solution from ME can help you with that. And regarding macros, I don't think we have a solution with ME right now. So we do satisfy only 7 out of 8 strategies right here. So here is another question from Sheridan Cope. With all of these cyber problems that we are facing, does an antivirus software is still effective? If it's not, what should we do to keep our privacy away from badwares without limiting our browser capabilities? It's an interesting question because we all do use antivirus softwares, but we need to make sure we have the right antivirus software which has all the updates, all the malwares being updated with it. So you need to have proper antivirus, which is the first point here, and you also do need browser capabilities. You can go without deploying proper capabilities to your browsers, but I will not be sure, or I may not be sure how good or practice it will be in 2019 if you are going to use a lot of cloud softwares. So AV can be good, but you also need other controls to keep the 100% at least to the best of your cybersecurity in 2019.
We have another one here. How do I give a technician or user access to a critical asset without revealing him the credentials?
This is a nice question because, like we discussed in the webinar, it's advised not to reveal your privileged credentials in plain text to any user in your organization. So the key will be to incorporate a PIM solution that serves as a gateway for handling all your remote access requests. So it works out like that. Your user or technician has to be authenticated only through the PIM solution, which should in turn tunnel connection to the privileged assets without revealing its credentials, so that he can perform whatever activity he needs to perform on that asset.
If you have more questions, please do send in the chat box, because some of them are being answered right now by our specialists. You can also send yours in. We are getting plenty of questions right now, but due to the lack of time, we will be answering them offline. We will definitely get back to you through mail, and by then I hope you'll get a lot more questions, and you can again get back to us regarding that. The slide decks, the presentations that were given today will be sent to you all after the second part of the webinar series, which is on 15th of November. So please do expect that in your mails after that. After this session, please provide your quick feedback in our survey that will flash on your screens regarding our sessions today, and get access to all the resources you need. We will look forward to your participation in our second part of the webinar series. And it is me, Monisha, along with Giridhar and Shweta, signing off right now. Please do remember to fill the survey. Thank you.